Welcome back to the Sacred Arts Academy, where we talk about all things from the practical to the sacred. I am so excited to be here today with Heidi Beyer. She is a business owner and entrepreneur who has made her life purpose to be of service to others. Her goal is to encourage and inspire others to reach for the stars, expand their life to the fullest extent, and become the best they can be. Her latest project, BU Renewed, is touted as America's purest wellness and anti aging supplement. Handcrafted formulas to support the body, mind, and spirit for transformation and vitality. Welcome, Heidi.
Thank you for having me, Jassy.
Thank you for coming on and sharing your wisdom. I am curious to know a little bit more about your personal experience where you had to overcome fear in your entrepreneurial journey.
It's such a great question, and I really appreciate your asking because overcoming fear is a sometimes it's a minute to minute experience, and much of the time I liken it to a daily experience. And I really feel like the best of who we can be as people is really about the ongoing experience of having the fear and having the tools to be able to understand how to transfer and to kind of convert, if you will, the feeling and use it to your benefit to actually have the courage to live a life that is beyond your wildest dreams.
Yeah, I can feel that. Sometimes I feel the fear and it's hard to get out of it. How do you define courage in the context of like entrepreneurship and personal growth?
Again, it's like the use, courage is is the is it's like, I just had this image, interestingly enough, as you said this, of the Wizard of Oz. Remember, it's like, yeah, the courage of the lion, it's like standing true to who you are. So once you can stand in yourself, and we were just talking about being grounded. So, having a practice, a meditation practice, which I do, and which is part of my morning routine, if you will, um, kind of allows me to align myself for the day. And I align with that which who I am. And I align with the universe, number one. I align with my best of who I am, my inner self. And as you have the thread of this standing in who you are, you have already mastered courage. That is courage because you've given it your best to make sure that you can actually get out ahead of any challenges or fears that pop up throughout the day. So that is your foundation. That's your common thread every single day to align and to kind of walk into the shoes of who you are the best to be. And the way that I know how to do that is to also understand that the key is having joy in your life. So if you can reach for joy, the best of who you are, and be joyful about it and be light, then that allows you to be the best who you are, standing in your shoes, and then having that kind of translates to having courage. That's courageous to be
Mm.
able to just do those steps. Wow, what an achievement. So then, courage then allows you to have and overcome. That's your armor. That's the best of who you are to be able to not necessarily defend. I'm not going to use the word defend against fear because I think that the way that we experience fear really gives us the fear, that the key to knowing that we don't have to have the fear because we don't have to have fear. Fear actually it can melt into, another another emotion. So it's actually really wonderful to the study of courage and the study of fear as it relates to being the best who you are in your in entrepreneurship, in anything that you endeavor in your life.
I love how you described, fear can melt into another emotion. And sometimes that can melt into anger, jealousy, even, grief and disappointment, depression and whatnot. What are some strategies or techniques that you use to confront and or move past the fear and get back into joy?
Yeah, great question. And I love that because that is the key. That is the key. And that is the $1 million question, if you will. So and it's the most human experience to be able to sit in an emotion such as fear, to be able to sit in it and really then kind of to understand and to really explore, okay, what is it really I'm experiencing? And the fear then can actually move into an anger. There's a particular, there's somebody that I practice a particular process which is called Abraham. I don't know if you're familiar with Abraham or the law of attraction.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Okay, so they have an emotional scale, and
Mm-hmm.
it goes from 1 to 20. And so, you can actually help yourself to go up the emotional scale from, let's say, the fear or the anger or the depression. And if you keep going up, and the way that you actually go up is by recognizing and allowing yourself to feel the feeling and to have a different thought that might be, okay, if you have anger, now you're out of your depression, and that's a good thing. So then you kind of, go, wow, okay, that was great. I was able to move into that zone. Now I'm going to move into jealousy, which is actually a step above that. So now you're moving up the emotional scale to joy, which is number one. And as you keep transitioning up the skill, you actually recognize and you honor yourself for all that you are, all that you're doing, like, wow. And the way that you do that is to go from a specific, let's say if you're actually feeling, if I'm feeling, let me give a personal example. So if I'm feeling really angry that something is not going my way, if I'm in fear, that's all the way down the emotional scale. But if I'm in anger, now I'm moving up. I'm mad that something is not going my way. So I just have to find a better feeling thought to allow me to actually experience, well, maybe even, let's say even jealousy, and then going up the emotional scale. And the emotional scale is available if you Google the emotional scale by Abraham. It's really wonderful. I wish I had a copy of it right here. And so what happens is you just keep transitioning, you keep allowing yourself to move with a better feeling thought and a relief. And relief is actually attached to more into joy. But as you keep going up, you become, and if you can give yourself the be okay, if you could just give yourself a little pat on the back, if you will, and just allow yourself to actually, be not be hard on yourself. So much of the time we're so hard on ourselves. I'm so hard on myself. So what I do is I sit down and I get grounded, and then I go more general in my thought, and I say, I have particular phrases that I use, such as, everything is working out for me. Everything is working out for me. All things are good. It's okay. Everything I'm feeling, it's okay. Keep going. I just say these words to myself. And it's more than words, because when I say everything is working out, I have a lighter feeling. It's not as heavy. And so now I can allow myself to continue on up to get to joy. And, and if you're happy, And if you have relief, that's almost as close to joy as it gets. So the key is you're not, what I realize is, and I so much of the time I think, boy, wouldn't it be great to be in joy
Mm-hmm.
all of the time, all of the time. And the key is, we have to have contrast. We have to have fear pop up. It's a protective mechanism. We have to know what we don't want in order to know what we do want. Does that make
I
sense?
absolutely. I was going to just say that I absolutely agree because there was a point in my life where I wanted to be in joy all of the time. And um, the cost of that was that I wasn't actually feeling my feelings or emotions because I was trying to stuff them away. I wasn't actually doing what you just said, which was recognizing it, honoring them, and kind of giving myself some grace for having them.
Yeah.
And I was just stuffing it down and then it turned into like physical ailment and health issues. And I think
Mm.
because we're so conditioned as a society to like not cry, don't be upset, don't talk about problems, and just stuff your emotions away, I think that that can then cause this innate fear that comes up, right? And we're not talking about it and we just kind of stir in that. And I just think it's so important to recognize it and acknowledge it just based on my own experience. Did you
Uh,
have any experiences like that?
Well, absolutely. In fact, I was just thinking of one in particular, a particular fear. When you start a new business. So, my business is now, um, it's in the first year. And so as I had started coming up with, because the formulas, everything that I'm doing means so much to me. I'm so healthy. It's so important for me to, to live as long as I could possibly live and as healthy a body as possible and look as good. Looking good, I've always kind of like been somebody who has to, really look good from the outside, but it's the inside out. But I also know it's the outside in for me because guess what? The key is if I look good, then I know I feel better. And then I know I'm taking as care as much care as I possibly can to be my best. So it's actually an equal, give and take on inside out, of course, inside out, but the outside in. If you take care of yourself, and I'll give you a quick example. So the fear is, about making sure I'm somebody who is extremely fastidious. I'm very detail oriented, and I really have to be on top of each and every task that I do. And so what happens as a result, because I'm really good at doing a lot of things, but what happens is I can get easily overwhelmed. And
Mm,
so overwhelmed equals for me, it's a fear, a fear of not being able to do the best and be able to, um, let's say, meet my commitments, and not just to other people, but to myself. In fact, it's easier for me to make commitments to other people and to achieve that, execute that, but to, execute it within myself, I'm even harder. Like we were just saying, I'm harder on myself because I don't want to leave one stone unturned, and I don't want to, I want to do everything that I set out to do and do it even more. So that's a huge fear is just failure, but what I can which is actually a natural outcome of living life. But the bottom line is that it's the best lesson that you can possibly learn is how to how to to get over the fear of how to get over failure, because there is no failure.
mm,
Right?
yeah.
Failure is just the wonderful lesson that allows you to see what not to do and how to do it better. And if that didn't come up, you couldn't refine your direction. And when one door closes, another one opens.
That's so true. I love that reflection. And for us to be able to maintain our sanity, if you will, because I also get deep into overwhelm. I think that the role of mindset is extremely important.
Mm.
Can you tell us a little bit about how your mindset in overcoming being overwhelmed or fear, how does that play into your everyday when you're pursuing your goals?
100%, 100%. So, great example, I am, as I mentioned, I'm in LA, in Los Angeles. And I'm actually one of these people. I'm a phenomenal driver. You know, you know how driving is crazy in LA or in any city, but in particular, getting around LA. But I love to drive and I'm very good at it. And I'm also super hyper aware that it's not me, it's the other person I have to be aware of. So, the key is you're talking about mindset. And I go into when I'm driving now, that doesn't mean I always am the most generous driver because I might have an experience that, I find, let's say it really upsets me or it really, kind of sets me in a different direction. I get really, and I see things that I know that I would handle differently out there. Let me just say it is sometimes I get really PO'd. Sometimes I get really PO'd. And the key is now I have to just, really get back into a space of gratitude. So the key here is, to get kind of your mindset back where you need to be if you get off the beaten track, as it were, is the tried and true method is gratitude.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it might be saying, you know what, I'm so glad, that I'm out here. It's so beautiful. Today is gorgeous. I'm just going to, really enjoy I'm still on the driving example, if there's a lot of traffic, I'm just going to enjoy the beautiful day. The sun is gorgeous. And I'm so grateful that I get to drive and I have a beautiful car to drive and just it's a beautiful air, everything that would make me and change my attitude, my
Yeah.
mindset.
I love that example because for a really long time, my husband would get all like upset about, he would have like major road rage. And I would just make up stories in my mind, like, oh, that person really needs to go to the bathroom. Or, like I would just make up funny
Right.
stories,
That's
like,
perfect.
because whatever's happening over there has nothing to do with me.
Exactly.
And so I think he's changed his mindset just a little bit, but every now and again, like I'll mention that to him and he'll be like, oh, I guess.
Exactly. No, yeah. I mean, you almost have to have some sort of connection to the person who might be kind of upsetting you. And if you can find that, like you say, it's like, oh, maybe he has to go to the bathroom, or
Yeah.
maybe this, that, or the other. It's like if you find a personal connection to that person, it's likely that you're like, oh, you know what? He was just behind me at the grocery store. And we actually had a conversation. I mean, just like these things come up and you're like, oh my God, I can't be mad at this person.
Right,
It's like, I just
exactly.
talked to him. It's funny it's how that is. But yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good way to kind of, overcome.
Yeah. Gratitude, empathy, right? The one my husband always says is, I remember my first day driving.
Right. That's a good one. Yeah.
So in your opinion, what are some like common misconceptions people have about courage and fear?
That's a great question. I really feel like people are really attacked when they have a visceral, most people have a visceral reaction to words, whether they hold weight or they don't hold weight, but there's a trigger point that comes up with certain words, and fear really connotates a kind of a feeling of, oh my God, it's like it's hard to breathe. The kind of your chest tightens, and it's hard to take a breath. So courage is a softer word, and courage actually is more inviting and gives hope and provides opportunity, and somebody who may not have um, a confidence, who may be lacking in self-confidence, can actually get behind a word like courage and kind of feel like, wow, well, you know what? I feel like I can see where I've had courage, maybe replay, an incident that they've, have had a successful moment where they felt like it was courageous for them to walk into a dark room, as an example. So, yeah, the connection between courage and fear, um, fear really lends itself to just being okay, finding a way to take that word and maybe to take the charge out of it, and actually experiencing, having some experiences where, again, similar to courage, but that you go through the fear, and that no matter the outcome, that it's going to be all right, that no matter what happens, you are still going to be, we're okay. We've gone through it. You're better for it. And again, you can look back on examples in your life, in my life, where I've gone through fear, and I can say, wow, you know what? It does get easier. It doesn't necessarily get easier. It really depends on your mindset. But as you go through it and you have the experience come up, you know what? The key here is it's just allowing the experience to come in, and then having a tool to be able to deal with it. And that might be being okay with being in fear, and that might be taking a break and going out for a walk or going out for a hike, changing up your whatever you're doing, having a different experience. So, distraction is a great way to get out of fear. And resetting is another term that we're using now for, changing it up. So once, if you're feeling fear, you can actually, do something different. Go, have make some food for yourself. Call a friend on the phone. Find out how they're doing. Get out of your own head, and, be of service to others. And that changes your whole mindset, which then now there's no room for fear once you actually feel better and relief, because that's essentially what you're reaching for, is relief from the fear. Now you can actually look at that scenario that had caused you fear and perhaps find another way in that would not be as fearful. And if it's still holding as much charge, then go through it. That's the fun part. Make it something that you wouldn't necessarily think of, such as fun. Make it a unique experience.
Yeah, I love all those examples because it's so easy to stay in a certain behavior and go down that spiral even further and further, and it's comfortable. So when you break up that pattern through any of those things that you just mentioned, I think it breaks up that energy and it allows us to like finally overcome that fear, which is really beautiful. Thank you for going through that.
You're welcome.
Can you tell us a little bit about the difference between, taking a calculated risk and versus like overcoming that fear when it comes to business?
So when you're taking a calculated risk, what that says to me is that you're putting a lot of passion, you're putting your heart, you're putting everything that you have into a particular idea that you have, that you want to see come about. And calculated equals to me doing your homework. So if the more homework you do, the more research you do, um, the better you get an idea about what's going on. The more you feel comfortable, because when you don't know something, um, it's generally because you're not sure about what the different outcomes could be. So um, the more you have ammunition behind you, the more ammo that you have in your tool belt, if you will, the better outcome you're going to have, which is a calculated risk. So you're taking a risk, but it's calculated because why? You've done the homework, because you can see case studies of different ways that things go, and you can prepare yourself for doing this or doing this. If it goes this way, if it goes this way, we're not going to say if it goes awry, if it doesn't happen, or that you give up. The key is, and any risk that you take, calculated, not calculated, persistence is really the number one thing that really takes you through to the next level. If you really don't give up, and you just keep, if you have to reset, if you have to walk away from something, whether it be an hour, a day, a week, or whatnot, walk away to allow the energy to build again, so that you can move into it in even greater feeling of passion and interest and desire, and also having the information that you need, which is what calculation of risk really stands for.
Mhm. Yeah. How do you integrate the principles of courage and fearlessness into the mission and products of BU Renewed?
So it's all courage. and it's and it's all fear based. Not all fear based, but I'm being funny. But the key is that, yeah, I am very passionate about our systems. They work. So, for instance, I'm just going to do a little plug here. It's
Mhm.
BU Renewed has three supplement systems. We have the Stay Sharp system, and everything is a set. So we have a morning formula, which is stage one. We have an evening formula, and everything is designed. They're brain supplements, and they're designed to help with focus, clarity, brain fog, memory. Everything is combined in here. So when you are on the program, when you have a subscription, when you just buy the product and you use it, the outcome is outstanding as far as giving you greater clarity to know how you want to, and how you can be the most productive in your day. So, you know, it's courageous when you start a business.
Mhm.
It's there's a lot of fear that goes on when you actually are hoping that that you're going to be able to serve as many people as you want, but as you would like to. But the key is, you can serve one person at a time. You help people one person at a time. And as long as you have a mindset that you're here to serve, and you're here to help people to grow to be the best that they can be, there's no loss. There's no that's courage. You're standing up for who you are, as true as you can, as true as you are. Authenticity. That's courageous, to be authentic and genuine. Um, we have can I go into
Yeah.
the programs? We have the well-being system, and our well-being system, we have our stage one, which is the morning formula, and it's our stress support system. And then our stage two is our evening formula, which is the calm, kind of your sleep, getting the best rest. It's your reset. So all of this together is our, everything about anti-stress, anti-anxiety, helping to make you really feel the best that you can feel on a daily basis. All of the ingredients are organic, they're handpicked. And they're all listed on the website as well, so you can check. Everything is proprietary. It's all laid out. There are no hidden ingredients. Herbs are the finest. The vitamins are the finest, and the minerals as well. We have one more system, which is called the Age Well system. Age Well is that we have the morning formula, which is for mobility, joint, helping you to really be, kind of self-support, which is really big for me. And our evening formula, which is vitality, energy, focus, and again, mobility and joints. So all of it is related to the body and to the spirit. So that's what I love about each and every system. Our products are really based on helping, and they work. And it's just everything that aligns you with your day to support your daily practice in what you eat, what you put into your body, what you do physically to help, whether it's yoga, whether it's walking or hiking. It's just a wonderful balance of all of who we are.
That's beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing all of that. Where can people find you and stay in touch and look up your products?
So we have the brand website is BU Renewed. So BE Renewed, excuse me, BU Renewed.com. The Instagram is BU Renewed Official. So it's BU and then the word renewed, ED, official. TikTok is BU Renewed. Facebook is BU Renewed. And Pinterest is BU Renewed as well.
Beautiful. And we're going to post those links down below to make it easy for everyone to access and follow and subscribe. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing your wisdom and sharing what you have to offer to the world to keep us motivated and going and to overcome our fears. It was such a pleasure to speak with you today.
And it's such a pleasure to be on. I really love your show. And thank you so much for having me on.
Thank you. For our listeners, if you enjoyed this episode, please like and subscribe down below and let us know what you thought in the comments. We'd love to hear from you.